with you. The budget itself probably didn't leave too much to talk about. But when you join the dots between parallel political developments, legal developments, Ayodhya already done, Gyanvapi probably coming, Modi's own popularity, Nitish's return home, Hemant Soren in jail, rumors about a possible arrest of Kejriwal. What do you see in the political landscape?
Well, I don't think that, locking up the opposition is going to make any difference. I don't know why he's bothering to do that, because on the ground, what I have seen since the Ram Temple is a huge surge in support for Narendra Modi. Now, at the, I'm not an economist or anything like that, but let's agree that poverty has not gone down as dramatically as the government portrays that it has. Jobs have not been created. As I've seen graduates working in very low-level jobs. So, I don't see that there's been huge economic achievements, even though we're supposed to be the fastest growing economy. But his popularity is political and religious. And, there's no getting away from it. So, he can... Secondly, the thing is with locking up the opposition leaders is they have found evidence of corruption. It's not as if nobody in the BJP, would be found with huge stashes somewhere. But he's used this very well to make it a campaign against corruption, and people like that, I think.
So let me pick up this last point that you said. His popularity is political and religious. The Indian voter is not foolish. The voter knows that, if opposition leaders, politicians are corrupt, so might well be the BJP. Why do you think none of this actually impacts Narendra Modi negatively? We've seen, for example, on budget day, it's good to point out that there are young men, we've done a story on them, lining up to get work in Israel. They say that they can't get work here in India, so they'd much rather go to Israel. There are images of those men lining up right next door to the national capital in Haryana. Tavleen, before I open it up, the question is, all of these things are true that you've just spoken of, but none of them seem to touch the Prime Minister, who is quite clearly Teflon today with large sections of the electorate.
Okay, whenever I've asked the average voter, and by the way, I agree with Churchill that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute chat with the average voter. Okay, so
that's very snobbish, like Churchill. Yeah, that is fruity.
I'm not enamored by, I don't want to exalt the Indian voter, but whenever I've asked why Modi is so popular, the first thing they say is, "Aur kaun hai ji?" This is I've heard that more often than I've heard almost anything else. And, the other things that they believe that he has exalted India's image in the eyes of the world. They believe that, he's done quite well by the welfare schemes, and he has, there's no question about that. 80 crore Indians are getting almost free rations. So there's all those factors. But I think that the one reason why the opposition being locked up makes no difference. There isn't anyone really in the opposition that is a credible challenge.
All right, let's open this up. Dilip Cherian, if you had to describe how Modi as a brand, a political brand, is perceived today, both by his supporters and his critics, but obviously there are more supporters and there are critics, especially in our Westminster system of democracy, how would you define him?
I'd define him as Teflon coated and future oriented. Nothing touches him. There is nobody to touch him. But most importantly, he is always showing you 5 years ahead. At the moment, the target is to show you 2047. And there are billions of voters willing to wait and watch for that happening. Just remember one thing, that the BJP has, as a party, delivered on its key 4 promises. So the Modi guarantee, which is the new phrase that he's popularizing, and the 4 new castes that he is talking about are future oriented. The guarantee is that whatever he says, he will make sure it actually becomes reality. And the 4 new castes that he has created helps him surmount the accusation of Brahmanwad, which came to the fore in many people's minds post the consecration at Ayodhya. So I think that this is what defines brand Modi: future orientation and Teflon coating, both of which help. And okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, and just briefly, you said that the newest political slogan in town is "Modi hai to mumkin hai," but in many ways, whatever he has said he will do. So 370. Ayodhya, it's not come from Modi, it's come from the Supreme Court, but in the minds of the voter, Gyan Vapi, likewise, the puja today that's taken place has been allowed by the court, but there will be a kind of BJP claiming of it, the new caste, the Labharthi caste, welfareism. Today also, the trend from the budget is Lakhpati Didis, wooing the woman voter. There's an interesting cocktail here. How would you identify that cocktail before I go to Sandeep and Madhavan? Dilip.
The ability to seamlessly meld the offerings that he does with what the public's expectation of him is. So whatever is delivered, even if it is winning a chess game internationally, even if it is the possibility that you're able to get the same chief guest for Republic Day twice, that the fact is that each of those is touted and gets the public to believe that this is the work of a strong leader who is taking India to the next level. So, remember that Indians love this reiteration that this is their moment in the sun. This is truly when India has begun. So that is a script of which he plays very effectively.
Sandeep, I want to pick up what, not just what Dilip said, but also what Tavleen said. There's a lot of focus on aur kaun hai, right? And if you see what's happened with Hemant Soren, for example, today, now there's all kinds of churn, all kinds of rumors about what kind of political realignment could take place there. There's Nitish Kumar, whose return, frankly, adds no credibility to the BJP. It's more psychological damage and numerical damage, as it were, to the opposition. And Tavleen Singh made the point, what is the need to even lock away these people? Sure, there are credible allegations of corruption against them, but nobody is really going to believe that only the BJP-linked politicians, only the opposition politicians are corrupt. Nobody linked to the BJP is corrupt. Why do you think all of this is happening? A chief minister going to jail is a pretty significant event, and there will be allegations of selectiveness, won't there?
See, let's start with the last question first. What Tavleen said, I said that in a program this morning on the budget thing. It was following the budget, this thing was happening in Jharkhand, and the question was asked. And I also felt that what's really the need? The need, I can only say, are two parts. At a very superficial level, what people are talking about is wanting to better the Rajiv Gandhi record of 404 or 415, whatever it is. That could be one at the back of the mind. But the second is a point, which our friend Yashwant makes. At this point in time, in 2013-14, the similar kinds of pain was there in the economy. But why that pain got translated into ire against the Congress was because Congress's perception of being corrupt. And today, if this pain is not getting converted against Modi as an ire, it's not sticking on him, is because he has personally got that Teflon image of being totally incorruptible. And if you see their first jingle, which has come out of the campaign, in that there is a very specific reference of the corrupt I can't recall the Hindi term, but almost like Hanuman, Bhoot ko kapai kind of a thing, is saying that all the corrupt people are shaky and shivering because of the fear of Modi. So that is one projection out there. And therefore, I don't think he really needs to do what he is doing in Hemant Soren. And if people are talking that if same thing is repeated to Arvind Kejriwal, I personally would think those are overkill. But where I differ slightly with what Tavleen said and others is this whole, first, the question of the Tina factor, or kaun hai. While people may be articulating that way, but I think we'll be a little unfair on Modi or to say that that's the only thing which is driving him. In a way, it's driving him because the opposition has not found another reason to attack him or any other issue. So if you see even today, when they are reiterating, no, we are saath, Why are they saying we are Saath? Because our common objective is to remove Modi. That's the point. And therefore, that Modi is translating back to say they have only one point agenda, Modi ko, hatao Modi ko, whatever, and that kind of reaffirms his position. But if you see the other point, Barkha, I would draw upon another commentator, Nalin Mehta's book. He had done a very, statistical analysis of the references to these various issues by BJP, and he had empirically shown that Hindutva and these things are actually the feature in terms of number of times it is said by Modi or anybody in their speeches far lower than what they emphasize in terms of the labhartis and the benefits which they're getting. That is what they go on emphasizing.
But Sandeep, Nalin Mehta's book came before Ayodhya, if I'm not wrong.
But but he has been before. What did you say, Barkha? I didn't get you.
Before the Ram Mandir, right? You said was mentioned much less. No, mentioned much less times than Labharti and
See, Modi plays the optics of religion very well, but how many times does he himself go on emphasizing that I have made the Ram Mandir for you? You're saying Ram Mandir has been done by judicial order, so is Ganvapi. I would think that's again a very smart way of delivering it. If Modi tried to, or BJP tried to bulldoze it and get it done, there would be so much resistance. And so today, when Congress says that we supported it, whereas everybody knows a Kapil Sibal and everybody tried to waylay it, that doesn't cut ice. But the point I'm making is, Barkha, on the religious part, I'll just take 30 seconds more. He makes an optical point very well. He goes everywhere, dressed as he is, all that. But he doesn't really make an overt statement of it. Where he makes the overt statement, and there I think there is a difference, Barkha. I'll just conclude here. This hope factor, which Dilip is saying, is not just futuristic. Today, when there is a problem, pain, he is able to show the light. So youngsters, young women, for example, they are not interested in doles. But if they see there is some future is painted for them, that this is the income, this is the things which we will get, that's what sways them. And that's where Congress missed a trick in Madhya Pradesh.
Can I pick up that last point? It's a very interesting point, Madhavan, that the Prime Minister's own articulated emphasis on Hindutva is not as much as is associated with his politics. He personally doesn't go out there and say Hindutva, Hindutva, Hindutva. He talked more about, hope, ambition, what is possible, aspiration, and also welfareism. Even today, the BJP's ministers are all talking about women at the centerpiece of the interim budget, the Lakhpati Didi program, vaccination program targeted at eliminating cervical or preventing cervical cancer. So it's quite interesting that while pundits attach Hindutva and nationalism, Sandeep makes the argument that his own articulated emphasis is on something else. When you heard Nirmala speaking, looking ahead at July, right, with the confidence that she did, and you heard everybody else, what do you say?
Yeah, I think all the speakers, I kind of agree with everybody, Tavleen, Sandeep, and Dilip. But let me take a deep breath and take you back a bit more. I mean, before that, allow me, as usual, a one-liner. Adam asked Eve, "Do you love me?" And Eve said, "Who else is there?" This is one of my favorite jokes. And the Tina factor does work. But let me take you back slightly offbeat to give you an idea, because this is not the first time in history that this is happening. There is a tendency among people who feel insecure to look for a father figure. There is something Freudian about it. And whenever there is corruption, and what political thinker Thomas Hobbes described as a state of nature, he propounded this idea called Leviathan, which I've studied formally as a master's student in political science. He said the Leviathan is needed, and the words are amazing. Let me quote that. He believed people should give up some of their personal liberties for the greater good, protection, and rule by a powerful sovereign. Now, this is a deeply felt need among people who feel insecure. What Modi does, as my other speakers so efficiently pointed out, is that he doesn't talk about their being corrupt. He fills the vacuum by ticking all the boxes, and it would be wrong to reduce him to Hindutva. But having said that, let me qualify it by saying that what he doesn't say is elaborately managed in terms of optics by his fantastic organization, which extends to RSS, Sangh Parivar, and party cadres. Let me give you an example of the Ram Mandir. Ram Mandir is officially built by a private trust, but he's been anointed as the chief judgeman, or person who performs the rites. And then there are speeches around it, and he's compared to Chhatrapati Shivaji right at the ceremony where the consecration takes place. So there is nothing left to the imagination of the people. And let me quote Allama Iqbal to match Tavleen Singh's mention of Churchill. Allama Iqbal said, "Jamhuriyat mein sar gine jate hain, tule nahi jate." So the heads are counted but not weighed. So there is I have a deep interest in the link between politics and neuroscience, and I can tell you that people take images very seriously. So the way he cut, it's not about words. Words matter, but images are very central. So whether he goes to Tamil Nadu, he assiduously, whether it's Nagaland or overseas, he kind of puts in a lot of images to tell the people, I'm the one who delivers, I'm the one who has a sense of the future. Dilip Charian and I can have a separate conversation on this whole image business. It's a fascinating field. And that doesn't mean he doesn't have a product. People tend to confuse imagery as if it's only optics.
So I think the point